Well, good Sunday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and hope that all of you guys are having a great Sunday. I'm not perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination, and I will say I have been up and down as far as my health journey in life goes. I'm 60 years old now, and at this point, you can't do some of the things that you used to do. And unfortunately, I've kind of gone down, or maybe fortunately, I've gone down the rabbit hole because of my son. My son's been down here working and doing stuff with us, and it's great being part of my kids' lives and having them part of mine. And my son started, and this is, for me, I'm a roller coaster. Football season, I will get in the 270s. I just do. Sitting around on Sundays, doing the big subs, the barbecues, the pulled pork, and then people bring over sodas, and I love sodas and things like that and stuff. And then you get into a rut, and then you get the holidays, of course, my mom's pies, and can't forget about trick-or-treating and all that. And then the Girl Scout cookies come through. And so, and you're less active in the wintertime. But then this football season ends. You know, like you make the resolves for New Year's that you're going to eat better and diet and things like that. And I will go from like 275. I've been as high as 278 is the highest I've ever been. But I'll get back in the 260s, maybe back in the 250 range. And I've done things like the keto diet, which of course, I do definitely lose weight doing keto. But what happens with me is I get off keto and I get back to eating a lot of candy bars and junk food and things like that. And sometimes you start like doing fast foods, and it's almost like you start craving it. Now, I haven't been eating a lot of fast food, and I just have to say I haven't, because when I took my brother home the other day, we were running behind. I was like, let's just go to Wendy's, and I got a burger and fries in there. But for the most part, I've been staying away from that, and I haven't been drinking sodas very often. But the main thing that I've been doing differently is my son has been going through and using an app on pretty much everything. This app will scan, it's a barcode scanner, will give you a rating from 0 to 100 on things that you eat. And so that's the main change that I have done, thanks to my son, is starting to watch some of the things that we eat. You know, for example, just using flour. We've been using unbleached flour, and he's been getting ones that are rated higher than others. Yesterday, I went to some local businesses and got things like bread. It's actually fresh bread. And if you go down the rabbit hole, what freaked me the hell out is seeing people with bread. And I've said to myself that bread doesn't feel the same. And I know that when Thanksgiving, when I was doing my stuffing, my turkey, about 3-4 days before, I bought bread. I had some of the Nature's Own honey wheat and stuff, and I had some white and things like that. And I put it in a bowl so that way it would stiffen up. And I shredded it up. The crazy thing is it never really softened up. It never really softened up. And then I saw this video where the guy is literally taking a piece of wheat bread, he's running the water on it, and he's squeezing it out, and it's holding its form. And I thought back to being a kid when we had our home hamburgers, because Mom would always say, we got McDonald's at home. We got McDonald's at home. You don't need to know McDonald's. We got McDonald's at home. And you get that white bread, and you get that greasy home burger put on there, and that sucker would end up just getting soggy. Soggy bread. We don't have soggy bread anymore. And then, as we were going through, I've started, your feed starts following you with whatever you're watching. Now my feed is showing me all kinds of videos on food, stuff that you're eating. And I started seeing more and more about the breads. And, when you go in the springtime, when you look out in the fields, you see the fields before they plant it. It's just barren. And it's kind of a reddish color. That's because they spray it with chemicals that literally make the soil infertile for the weeds to grow. You know, it's always amazing because you see the cornfields and the corn, you only see the corn. When I grow stuff out here in the garden, the weeds are as tall as the plants that I'm growing. So I got to go out there and pull weeds every couple of days. And it's because they're making it more advantageous for the farmer by killing all the natural organic matter that's in there that the weeds and things feed off of, and genetically modify the plants that survive in the chemicals. And now they spray like the wheat, like 2 weeks before harvest, chemicals to dry out the wheat quicker so that way it can go to market sooner. This is great as far as production wise. This is great for bread because it can stay on the shelves and it's soft. You know, we used to get a loaf of bread and we squeezed it to see if it was still soft. That's how we knew if it was fresh or not. That doesn't matter anymore. And then going through the rabbit hole, you know, you think back to things that you used to eat as a kid and say, well, I used to eat that as a kid. It didn't, and look at me now. Then you start seeing some of the things that show, like the ingredients that Wonder Bread had, you know, in the 70s was like 5 ingredients. And now you got to be a chemist to understand what these things are. And you're finding out that some of the things that we just take for granted. You know, I was sitting here finding out about a lot of spices that we get have arsenic and lead and heavy metals and things in there that literally using a couple spoons in is above the toxic rates of things. That the plastic bags, the plastic that we use, if you heat it up in the microwave, especially the black ones, end up releasing plastic. And we wonder why we got all these illnesses and sicknesses and things. So yesterday, and I got a video from earlier, me, Tracy, and Mike, we're trying to be committed. Actually, my whole family, my daughter Aisha and Kayla has been way ahead of all of us. And she's about as healthy as can be because you got to be careful what you feed Kayla. She'll come after you in a minute if you given her something that she's not. Yeah. We went to a local butcher, and surprisingly, the meat costs less than the local butcher. Grass-fed. And I got today, trying to feed the family for less and have multiple meals. I got this chuck roast. This is grass-fed. This one was $28 for this, and this is $10.99 a pound. Beef is outrageous. I got some ground chuck. I think it was $7.99 a pound. It's still, beef is just outrageous. And I'm going to try to do more home cooked. I do like to cook. And try and use more things that hopefully are better. Now, again, using the app, I saw a thing about some of the spices that people were buying in Walmart. I ended up buying this because I love Chipotle chili spice. And I saw a thing with Walmart's chili pepper powder that it's one of the most toxic ones out there. And so what Walmart did when they were sued wasn't trying to say it's not in there. They tried to say, well, in today's market, it's hard to find stuff that doesn't have it in there, and this is just now industry standards. Okay, so when I checked the app on this, on my Chipotle chili powder, this got an 88 out of 100. So I was like, thank you, because that's a lot of Chipotle chili powder, but I use a lot of it. And I've been going through and looking at my spices. Now, I've been using my cinnamon. I think this is 78. This is the McCormick's organic ones. And it's crazy that organic stuff without all the chemicals in it costs more than this ones they put all the shit in. But I've been going through, and I do use some great value ones. They're organic ones. These all rated out like in the 70s, so I feel better about those. So I'm going to take some Chipotle chili powder, some salt, although my McCormick salt, I found out it's not good. It's got a lot of shit in it too. And it's just, you just don't know. I'm sorry, my Lowry's. This didn't rate out good. And I love my Lowry's garlic salt. But I'm going to end up taking this and making like a Southwest like pulled pork. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to put some chili powder on it, some garlic salt, put some fresh cloves of garlic on here, put some of the organic flour. I'm going to brown it a little bit, and then I'm going to put it into the crock pot for the rest of the day with some beef broth and some onions and peppers to go into it, and just let that slow cook to the point where the fibers break down in here and it'll be like shredded pork. I've got some potatoes over here that I can go ahead and do, and I can go ahead and mash them up with the skins on them and have some mashed potatoes with it, or I can get my son to make some tortillas and we end up having some just tacos. So the thing I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try to eat better. Oh, here's the other part of this. I have eliminated eating my Reese's peanut butter sticks. I love those. Although once I stopped eating them, I don't really crave them that much. And the Toll House ice cream sandwiches, I literally started eating those because they tasted good. I like the cookie that was on it. But the ice cream was always weird to me because the ice cream never melted and like got on your hands. And in fact, if you just hold the ice cream in your mouth, it just kind of disappears because it's not ice cream. It's not ice cream. It doesn't melt. And this is the stuff that we are eating and ingesting. And then we wonder why we've got nagging aches and pains and chronic. Now, here's the crazy thing. Without going out and trying to do a shred diet, without, doing the straight keto diet, I've been eating, different lunch meats and things like that, sandwiches. I've been eating, beef and pork and bacon. I had BLT yesterday. Great bacon that we got from the local farmer's market. I'm no longer 275. This morning, 262. So my range has dropped between 259 and 262. Just from watching the chemicals that I've been eating and staying away from the sodas and the candy bars. Although I've been eating the blueberry chocolate covered things. I've been eating a lot of those. Okay, that's my new when I'm jonesing for some chocolate. That's my new thing. So we're gonna try this and see if we can figure out how to do it economically, because that's key these days. Economically and healthy wise at the same time. And I hope you guys will follow along with what we're doing. I can't guarantee that I'll do a video every day, but I grew up on a lot of canned goods. Now my mother is getting older and my dad's no longer there helping her with the garden and stuff, so there's less and less of it. So I'm going to start working on actually learning how to can again myself. One of the things I've found that has actually been great is beets. Pickled beets. Pickled beets are great for high blood pressure because if any of you guys have been following me, I had high blood pressure, extremely high blood pressure there for several months after my dad died. And I don't take blood pressure meds, and I'm staying around high 120s over 70s and low 80s. And one of the things that's helped lower it is beets. It's a natural, it's got nitrous oxide in it, which is to help lower your blood pressure short term. And so I've been eating some beets every day. Eating beets, snacking on them. Have a jar up by my desk upstairs. And I got a little refrigerator up there. And enjoying those. Eating a lot of pistachios. And so changing what we're doing. And of course, I still get my keto coffee in. I need to see how bad this is for me, the keto coffee creamer. But slowly but surely, without feeling hungry or saying, oh, I need this, that, the other. It's been working. All right. Peace out. Let me get my coffee.